Between the years of 1945 and 1959, there was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from Germany to the US. Many of these personnel were former members of the Nazi Party. Join me and Mr. Stanley as we discuss Operation Paperclip. And we're live, or back, or recording, or whatever. Welcome back, everybody, to episode, I want to call it 9, 8, 10. Is this episode 10?
Is it? I thought it was only episode...
I think it's 10. It's 10 because the last one, I said that the last one was unremarkable because it wasn't 7. So that would be 9, 8, and then this one's 10. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 10, Operation Paperclip.
Hooray.
Also called Operation Why We Went to the Moon. Yeah, you laugh. We all know it's true.
All modern progress.
Indeed. But it's truly, like, we wouldn't have made it nearly as far as a society without doing this. So, and the main guy was that one from the NASA guy, right? Von Braun. Mr. Von Braun. Yeah.
The Piedmont guy.
Piedmont. Yeah. Captain Peen. Lead Peen.
Werner von Braun.
Yeah. So, Mr. Stanley, what has been your experience and knowledge just like throughout your life about Operation Paperclip?
I don't know. I was always vague. Like, we were always vaguely aware that it happened, as far as I recall. I don't remember ever not knowing about it once we learned about World War II in school.
Yeah.
So this one was pretty widely exposed.
Right.
Not really been much of a conspiracy. Or, well, not for modern day anyway, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, to a certain degree, I mean, they still run into a lot of people who've never heard about it.
Really?
Oh, totally. Adequately suppressed.
Huh. It was definitely taught in school. In my stupid little hillbilly town.
Really? It wasn't taught in my school.
Wow.
Yeah. True story. What did they teach me in my school about Nazi history, end of war? The end of war, they just told me that Hitler killed himself. That was it. That was all we got out of it. Yeah. For the end of war. They don't talk about that, and they don't talk about Operation Gladio, like we discussed, or...
No, that one was new to me. That was news.
Yeah, or the operation by the Russians in order to acquire Nazi scientists, or the Americans in order to accomplish the same thing. Yeah. This one's pretty great. Big fan of World War II history. And, I mean, we live in a post-World War II society right now, too. And it's kind of really just been the same for a long time. The only other massive defining cataclysmic event of the last century would be the towers in America. Right? So we live in a post 9/11 world now, but for like 60 years, the defining thing was a post World War II society, right? That defined like your economy, aggregate efficiency with energy in the economy, blah, 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 blah. And rockets. So, how do we want to jump into this one, Mr. Stanley?
We usually jump in with a Wikipedia article. I say start there.
Okay. All right. Operation Paperclip was a secret United States intelligence program in which more than 1,600 German scientists, engineers, and technicians were taken from Nazi Germany to the U.S. for government employment after the end of World War II in Europe, between 1945 and 1959. Conducted by the Joint Intelligence Observations Agency, GOA, it was largely carried out by special agents of the U.S. Army's Counterintelligence Corps, the CIC. Many of these personnel were former members and some were former leaders of the Nazi Party. Pretty much all of them, actually. Yeah.
Anybody who was anybody.
Yep. Well, yeah. And then it's a little... We'll get into it later, but anyways. So yeah, the primary purpose of the Operation Paperclip was U.S. military advantage in the Soviet-American Cold War and the space race. In a comparable operation, the Soviet Union relocated more than 2,200 German specialists, a total of more than 6,000 people, including family members. Here it is, with Operation Osavayakim. That's it. During one night, October 22nd, 1946. In February 1945, Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force, SHAEF, set up T-Force, or Special Section Subdivision, which grew to over 2,000 personnel by June. T-Force examined 5,000 German targets with high priority or synthetic rubber or oil catalysts, new designs in armored equipment, V-2 rocket weapon, jet and rocket-propelled aircraft, naval equipment, field radios, secret writing chemicals, also medicine research, gliders, and scientific and industrial personalities. When large numbers of German scientists began to be discovered in late April, Special Section Subdivision set up the Enemy Personnel Exploitation Section to manage and interrogate them. Enemy Personnel Exploitation Selection established a detention center, Dustbin. What a name. First in Paris, later in Kranzenberg Castle outside of Frankfurt. The U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff established the first secret recruitment program called Operation Overcast on July 20th, 1945, initially to assist with shortening the Japanese War and to aid our post-war military research. The term Overcast was the name first given by German scientists' family members for the housing camp where they were held in Bavaria. In late 1945, JCS established the JIOA, a subcommittee of Joint Intelligence Community to directly oversee Operation Overcast and later Operation Paperclip. The JIOA representatives included the Army's Director of Intelligence, the Chief Naval Intelligence, the Assistant Chief of Air Staff 2, Air Force Intelligence, and representatives from State Department. In November 1945, Operation Overcast was renamed Operation Paperclip by Ordnance Corps officers, who would attach Paperclip to the folders of those rocket experts whom they wished to employ in America. In a secret directive circulated on September 3rd, 1946, President Truman officially approved Operation Paperclip and expanded it to include 1,000 German scientists under temporary limited military custody. Yeah, that'll go. That's the overview, my stuttering overview of Operation Paperclip. Hope y'all enjoyed it. You want the Ausenberg list? You want to talk about the Ausenberg list, Mr. Stanley?
Next bit of our content. In the later part of World War II, Germany was at a logistical disadvantage, having failed to conquer the USSR with Operation Barbarossa and its drive for the Caucasus. The failed conquest had depleted German resources, and its military-industrial complex was unprepared to defend the Greater Germanic Reich against the Red Army's westward counterattack. By early 1943, the German government began recalling from combat a number of scientists, engineers, and technicians. They returned to work in research and development to bolster German defense for a protracted war with the USSR. The recall from frontline combat duty included 4,000 Rocketeers returned to Peenemünde in northeast coastal Germany. Overnight, PhDs were liberated from KP duty, Masters of Science were recalled from orderly service, mathematicians were hauled out of bakeries, and precision mechanics ceased to be truck drivers. The Nazi government's recall of their now useful intellectuals for scientific work first required identifying and locating the scientists, engineers, and technicians, then ascertaining their political and ideological reliability. Werner Ausenberg, the engineer-scientist heading the Wehrforschungsgemeinschaft.
Okay,
Defense
clearly
Research
that's
Association.
Wehrforschungsgemeinschaft. What a word.
Wherefore Schungemeinschaft.
Wherefore
Schungsgemeinschaft.
Schungsgemeinschaft.
Wherefore Schungsgemeinschaft. So I don't know. I'm butchering that. I don't speak German.
The Wernerschaft.
So the Defense Research Association is what it means.
Yeah.
Record the names of the politically cleared men to the Ausenberg list, thus reinstating them to scientific work.
Why did they turn it into one word? If it could just be 3 words.
Because it didn't sound angry enough if they were separate.
I bet it's Werforschungsgemeinschaft.
Probably. Not sure. Yeah.
Gemeinschaft. Werforschungsgemeinschaft. Yeah. 3 spaces
In
there.
March.
Nobody knows.
Of 1945, at Bonn University, a Polish laboratory technician found pieces of the Ausenberg list stuffed in a toilet. That's really badly tried to cover that up. The list subsequently reached MI6, who transmitted it to U.S. intelligence. Then U.S. Army Major Robert B. Staver, chief of the Jet Propulsion Section of the Research and Intelligence Branch of the U.S. Army Ordnance Corps, used the Ausenberg list to compile his list of German scientists to be captured and interrogated. Werner von Braun, Germany's premier rocket scientist, headed Major Staver's list.
Damn straight. So that's the guy who got us to the moon, everybody. 100%.
That's the man.
Yeah. And I don't buy this story. You know, I found this list in a toilet. Pretty sure
Yeah.
if you were a war criminal and you're trying to like cover up, you'd probably burn it, right? Burning, like,
Yeah, you would think.
a lot more effective, easier. Burn the whole building, really.
Like,
But,
I feel like somebody just didn't get rid of the thing and somebody
yeah.
killed them or captured them and found
And the
it.
janitor comes to the MI6 and they're like, "Look here, I found this in the toilet. Maybe this is good for you. I do not know."
Like, what?
Yeah.
A Polish janitor. Or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's what it said, right?
Was he Polish, dude?
Yeah, a Polish lab technician.
Oh, a lab tech. Polish lab tech. I don't think so.
So
I think this list was probably handed over in order to preserve the lives of some people involved. They're like, look, these are our kind of main players in the progress we've had murdering you guys here. Take it and give us help. It wouldn't be too surprised if it was large sections
these people
of it
were
were
probably smart enough to realize that they might not win the war, so they were just
exactly.
like, yeah,
I think someone
know
like
a lot
Werner
of
von
things.
Braun, he probably called up the Americans. He's like, look, I make the rockets. I do not care. I fucking give me the rocket job. Something like that. That'd be my guess. Identification. In Operation Overcast, Major Staver's original intent was to interview the scientists, but what he learned changed the operation's purpose. On May 22nd, 1945, I need to sneeze. Hi. Oh, just hold it in. He transmitted to the U.S. Pentagon headquarters Colonel Joel Holmes telegram urging the evacuation of German scientists and their families as most important for the Pacific War effort. Most of the Ausenberg list engineers worked at the Baltic Coast German Army Research Center, Peenemünde, developing the V-2 rocket after capturing them. The Allies initially housed them and their families in the Landshut in Bavaria, in South Germany. Beginning on July 19th, 1945, the USJCS managed to capture the ARC rockets, under Operation Overcast. However, the Camp Overcast name of the scientists' quarters became locally known. Wow, I don't know how I bungled that so much, but I did. The programmer was renamed Operation Paperclip in November 1945. Despite attempts at secrecy, later that year, press interviewed several of the scientists.
Yeah, so this one came out real quick.
Yeah. Capture and detention. Early on, the United States created a Combined Intelligence Objectives Subcommittee, CIOS. This provided the information on the targets for the T-Force that went in and targeted scientific, military, and industrial installations and their employees for their know-how. Initial priorities were advanced technology such as infrared that could be used in a war effort against Japan, finding out what technology had been passed on to Japan, and finally, to halt the research.
The lowest priority.
Lowest priority is like, make them stop doing it here.
We want to know everything else about it, but then also maybe stop them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. A project to halt the research, codenamed Project Safe Haven, and it was not initially targeted against the Soviet Union. Rather, the concern was that the German scientists might emigrate and continue their research in countries such as Spain, Argentina, Egypt, and all of which had sympathized with Nazi Germany. In order to avoid complications involved in the emigration of German scientists, the CIOS was responsible for scouting and kidnapping high-profile individuals for deprivation of technology advancements in nations outside of the U.S. Much U.S. effort was focused on Saxony, Thuringia, Saxony and Thuringia, which by July 1st, 1945, would become part of the Soviet occupation zone. Many German facilities and personnel have been evacuated to these states, particularly from the Berlin area. Fearing that the Soviet takeover would limit U.S. ability to exploit scientists and technical expertise, and not wanting Soviet Union to benefit from said expertise, the United States instigated an evacuation operation of operation personnel from Saxony and Thuringia, using orders such as, "On orders of military government, you are to report your family and baggage, as much as you can carry, tomorrow at noon, 1300 hours, Friday, 22nd, June 1945, at Town Square in Bilterfield. There is no need to bring winter clothing." Y'all going to California? Easily carried possessions such as family documents, jewelry, and the like should be taken along. You will be transported by motor vehicle to the nearest railway station. From there you will travel on to the west. Please tell the bearer of this letter how large your family is. Neat.
Well, my mom weighs 700 pounds.
Yeah, and she's, can I bring my pet fuselage? By 1947, this evacuation operation had netted an estimated 1,800 technicians and scientists, along with 3,700 family members. Those with special skills or knowledge were taken to detention and interrogation centers, such as Adlerhorst, I believe that says. Adlerhorst, German, or one code named Dustbin. Located first in Paris and then moved on to Kransberg Castle outside Frankfurt to be held and interrogated, in some cases for months. A few of the scientists were gathered as a part of Operation Overcast, but most were transported to villages in the countryside where they were neither research facilities nor work. They were provided stipends. How do I not know this word? Stipends? Stipends. They were provided stipends and forced to report twice weekly to police headquarters to prevent them from leaving. The Joint Chiefs of Staff Directive on Research and Teaching stated that technicians and scientists should be released only after interested agencies were satisfied that all desired intelligence information had been obtained from them.
Possible.
Yeah, give it all. On November 9th, 1947, the Office of Military Government, United States, OMGUS, oh my god, U.S., OMG, U.S., which had jurisdiction over the western part of occupied Germany, held a conference to consider the status of the evacuees. The monetary claims that the evacuees had filed against the United States and possible violation by the U.S. of laws of war or rules of land warfare. The OMG U.S. Director Intelligence R.L. Walsh initiated a program to resettle the evacuees in the Third World, which the Germans referred to as General Walsh's Urwald program, jungle program. However, this program never matured. In 1948, evacuees received settlement of 69.5 million Reichmarks from the U.S., a settlement that soon became severely devalued during the currency reform that introduced the Deutschmark, as the official currency of West Germany. John Gimble concludes that the United States had held some of Germany's best minds for 3 years, therefore depriving the German recovery of their expertise.
For 3 years.
Yeah.
Yes, only 3 years.
We only withhold them for 3 years.
In May 1945, the U.S. Navy received in custody Herbert A. Wagner, the inventor of the HS-293 missile. For 2 years, he first worked at the Special Devices Center at Castle Gould and at Hempstead House, Long Island, New York. In 1947, he moved to the Naval Air Station Point Mugu. In August 1945, Colonel Holger Toftoy, yep, that's what it says, headed to the rocket branch of the Research and Development Division of the U.S. Army's Ordnance Corps, offered initial 1-year contracts to the rocket scientists. 127 of them accepted. In September 1945, the first group of 7 rocket scientists, aerospace engineers, arrived at Fort Strong, located on Long Island in Boston Harbor. Werner von Braun, Eric W. Neubert, Theodor A. Poppel, William August Schulz, Eberhard Rees, Wilhelm Jungert, and Walter Schwedetsky. Beginning in late 1945, 3 rocket scientist groups arrived in the United States for duty at Fort Bliss, Texas, and at White Sands Proving Ground, New Mexico, as War Department Special Employees. Special employees. In 1946, the United States Bureau of Mines employed 7 German synthetic fuel scientists at a Fischer-Tropsch chemical plant in Louisiana, Missouri. On June 1st, 1949, the Chief of Ordnance of the United States Army designated Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, as the Ordnance Rocket Center, its facility for rocket research and development. On April 1st, 1950, the Fort Bliss missile development operation, including von Braun and his team of over 130 Paperclip members, was transferred to Redstone Arsenal. In early 1950, legal U.S. residency for some of the Project Paperclip specialists was effected through the U.S. consulate in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico. Thus, German scientists legally entered the United States from Latin America.
Yeah.
Between 1945 and 1952, the United States Air Force sponsored the largest number of Paperclip scientists, importing 260 men, of whom 36 returned to Germany and 1, Walter Schreiber, re-emigrated to Argentina. 86 aeronautical engineers were transferred to Wright Field, Ohio, where the United States had Luftwaffe aircraft and equipment captured under Operation Lusty. Operation Lusty, I guess. Luftwaffe Secret Technology. And the L-U-S-T and Y are bold.
Yeah. Lusty. I was thinking
that's pretty funny. I like the way they did that. Crafty. The United States Army Signal Corps employed 24 specialists, including the physicists George Gobau, Günther Gutwein, Georg Haas, Horst Kedesdy, and Kurt Leovic. The physical chemists Rudolf Brill, Ernst Bars, and Eberhard Bott, the geophysicist Helmut Weichmann, and the optician Gerhard Schwesinger, and the engineers Eduard Gerber, Richard Gunther, and Hans Ziegler. In 1959, 94 Operation Paperclip men went to the United States, including Friedwart Winterberg and Friedrich Wegener. Overall, through its operations to 1990, Operation Paperclip imported 1,600 men as part of the intellectual reparations owed to the U.S. and the U.K. valued at $10 billion in patents and industrial processes.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Hans Ziegler is the reason we have cell phones, by the way.
I knew it.
He's a communications satellite dude.
Jesus.
Right?
Fuck.
So many of them.
like modern technology is just based off of these German scientists who are technically war criminals.
Yeah, the vast majority of modern technology came out of World War II.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, I mean, and then World War II lines up so perfectly with Roswell. That's why I think everybody believes that it's all recovered alien technology, microchips and so on. But I mean, hey, I don't know. Roswell's fishy.
History is fishy.
Yeah. So, that, my friends, is Operation Paperclip. The overview. Now, this is amazing because, of course, it's one of the shortest articles we've read on Wikipedia.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah.
It's like pretty much done.
Yeah. And, like, nothing compared to Operation Gladio, which I guess saw more light of day. But, yeah, a big piece of this would be, like, if you would have to, like, look into, like, particular individuals. Where's that fun dude?
We've got another thing that's on the U.S. government's efforts to mask the scientists' past.
Oh?
There began a propaganda campaign by the U.S. government to whitewash the pasts of these scientists who we very much knew were ardent Nazis. And it happened on a number of levels, from the bureaucrats and army intelligence who were asked to sort of rewrite the dossiers, on up to the generals in the Pentagon who flatly said we need these scientists and we're going to have to rewrite some history. And that's where it becomes very tricky and very nefarious.
Yeah.
You have to be a Nazi ideologue to move up that chain of command so high. It's almost like someone who is a hedge fund manager in the United States trying to take the line that they don't believe in capitalism, you know? That they're just trying to earn a living for their family. I mean, if you're going to rise to the top of your field, you maintain the party line, and that is what I found was the case with Paperclip. Oh, so this is an interview of some sort. Oh, yes. A book, Annie Jacobson, Operation Paperclip, the secret intelligence program that brought Nazi scientists to America. Quoting a book now, or an interview from a book. Interview highlights. Damn.
I'm looking at like similar operations. Operation Apple Pie, Operation Dustbin, Operation Eclipse, Operation Safe Haven, Operation Field Information. Oh, that's not a header.
They've done this a bunch.
Yeah, I mean, this had to happen at the end of a war of that scale, with that technological industriousness that was being displayed during the war from all sides, but particularly from Germany, because Germany's not big, but it was huge, huge war. Yeah, that's true. So, I want to look into Werner von Braun. So, this guy's a major player in a lot of our... Hello, Bev. Goodbye, Bev. Yeah. So, Werner von Braun was like a major player in the development of the V2 rocket and all this. And then I also believe he's on the record as being like... Because there were slaves working at his factories where they were producing rockets for the Nazis. And then he was like, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know. But this guy was like, he'd be overseeing the entire project. So he definitely knew. It's like to play dumb. So Werner Magnus Maximilian Freyer von Braun, born March 23rd, 1912, and died on June 16th, 1977, was a German and American aerospace engineer and space architect. He was a leading figure in the development of rocket technology in Nazi Germany and a pioneer of rocket and space technology in the U.S. While in his 20s and early 30s, von Braun worked in Nazi Germany's rocket development program. He helped design and co-develop the V2 rocket, the Peenemünde, during World War II. Following the war, he was secretly moved to the United States along with about 1,600 other German scientists and engineers and technicians as part of Operation Paperclip. He worked for the United States Army on an intermediate range ballistic missile program, and he developed rockets that launched the United States' first satellite, Explorer 1, in 1958. In 1960, his group was assimilated into NASA, where he served as the director of the newly formed Marshall Space Flight Center and as the chief architect of the Saturn V Super Heavy Lift launch vehicle. that propelled the Apollo spacecraft to the moon. In 1967, von Braun was inducted into the National Academy of Engineering. In 1975, he received National Medal of Science. He advocated a human mission to Mars. So, this guy's hands down the reason we made it to the moon. And when he died, that's why we never went back, I think.
Damn.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, because there's other terrible, terrible things they made.
Yeah, for sure. They gave him a bunch of medals. But, I mean, he was a
Bubonic
previous
plague
Nazi.
weapon, nerve agents. Chemical warfare.
Yeah. Nazi Party membership, man.
Mm-hmm.
This is such a good one. Now, just so everyone listening to the podcast knows, we tried to think of like a Halloween-based conspiracy theory, but there aren't any. Do you know of any? No? Okay. Yes, here it is. SS General Hans Kammler, who, as an engineer, had constructed several concentration camps, including Auschwitz, had a reputation for brutality and had originated the idea of using concentration camp prisoners as slave laborers in the rocket program. Arthur Rudolph, chief engineer of the V-2 rocket at the Peenemünde, endorsed the idea in April 1943 when labor shortage developed. More people died during the V-2 rockets than were killed by it as a weapon. Yeah, more people died building them. That's crazy. Von Braun admitted visiting the plant at Millwork on many occasions and called the conditions of the plant repulsive, but claimed never to have personally witnessed any deaths or beatings. Although it had become clear to him by 1944 that the deaths had occurred, he denied ever having visited Mittelbau-Dora concentration camp itself, where 20,000 died from illness, beatings, hangings, and intolerable working conditions. Some prisoners claim von Braun engaged in brutal treatment or approved of it. Guy Morand, a French resistance fighter who was a prisoner in Dora, testified in 1995 that after an apparent sabotage attempt, Braun ordered a prisoner to be flogged, while Robert Casabonne, another French prisoner, claimed von Braun stood by as his supervisors were hanged by chains and suspended from cranes. However, these accounts may have been a case of mistaken identity. Former Buchenwald inmate Adam Kabbalah claims that von Braun went to the concentration camp to pick slave laborers. Yeah. I mean, this guy knew what was going on.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and he was there. I mean, stuff's crazy. So, what else would we like to talk about? Operation Paperclip.
I mean, there's no really...
There's no really? No really what? Let's take it on a different note. How have you been, Mr. Stanley?
Take it on a different note.
Yeah. So I've heard that you are a security officer now?
Becoming one.
You're en route?
I take my assessment test on Monday, 2 days hence.
Excellent. They want to know if you can write stuff down in notepads and drive at the same time? Or do you have to stop?
No, I'm going to be walking around instead.
Ooh, walkage. Nice.
Yeah.
A pacing guard even. Do you get one of those high-vis vests to scare people away?
Presumably. I'm going to pick up my uniform on Monday as well.
Oh, fantastic. That's good stuff. So yeah, everyone watching, sorry we've been gone so long. It's been a pretty stressful 3 weeks for me, and I have ended the stress, took control of my life, and yeah, that's about it. So I'm hoping to do this all the time. But as far as committed schedules go, I don't have committed schedules. I'm just going to do this a bunch and have fun with it. I enjoy doing this for you guys, so Yeah. This is Operation Paperclip. You guys have to let us know if you want us to see anything. I've seen a bunch of people saying, nice to see you back on the last one, but no recommendations on what conspiracies you want us to talk about. I'll do outlandish ones. We could do like Hollow Earth and stuff like that and dive into them. I don't
Yeah, I
care.
love talking about crazy stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like, where's Agenda 21 and the reptilians, all the fun stuff people get to talk about.
Well, there was that dude that popped up on Reddit, which is everyone is like 90% sure it was fake. Well, 99.9 because it was just too perfect. Because there was like, what was it? Some years back, said there was going to be a leak from the government about all the different extraterrestrial and just extra human life that we've encountered in general. And the dude put like this fucking essay down about like subterraneans and like water dwelling folk, like Atlanteans pretty much, that live under the sea. And
Really?
there's like these weird like multi-limbed fire phase monsters that lived like deep in the core of the earth and could just like move through physical objects.
So we have an ex-employee of the SCP Foundation posting on Reddit? Is that what I'm gathering?
Pretty much. It was, what was, I can't remember what he, like the NNA something, NNAA? I don't know.
See, stuff like that, I don't know how effectively in a modern age you would be able to hide like a subterranean or submarine civilization.
Yeah.
What do you think
I feel
about
like
that?
they'd be impossible to not have them
Bump
be
into.
seen by somebody.
Oh yeah, or like they would wage war. It'd be like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, why would they just sit under the water and be like, you guys suck?
yeah, for sure. And if there's a bunch of lava ghosts out there, like guaranteed they'd be popping out of volcanoes every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
Not just like
I do
lava
feel
ghosts,
like
they're apparently like way the fuck down towards like the center of the earth.
yeah, I do feel like if there's been like alien civilization or extraterrestrial contact in our lifetime, that it's been through messages in space, and also that we probably haven't been able to communicate with them again, right? So like if we received a message from extraterrestrials, most likely, unless they have some sort of like quantum technology that somehow emits a signal instantaneously from from another solar system. So like it would have to like emit here and here at the same time, and then the signal comes out here, and then when it's received here through like quantum entanglement or whatever, it comes out the other end instantly. If that technology exists, sure, maybe they've heard from us, or we've heard back from them. But most likely, and this is just me spitballing or whatever, but I'm assuming that our first contact with an intelligent alien civilization would be through the technologies that like we've made. So it would take like 1,000 years to contact them anyways. So like if you hear from them, you get a message and whatever, and then or when they see the Nazi broadcast of the Hitler speech that was done pre-World War II, the broadcast of Hitler's speech, which was sent out into space, and then the aliens would see that and respond to it from 1,000 years from now. So it'd be like 2,000 years from now, yeah, we might actually have contact. Yeah, and then the alternative, of course, is that they're already in our solar system because of space travel technology, like the Alcubierre drive, which we discussed, right? A warp drive. That's really the only way to get around space travel for interstellar travel, other than like motherships and seed-bearing ships where you just carry around people.
Big colony ships.
Yeah, but then like again, that's 1,000-year venture, and it's a lot of technology variables involved in it. It'd be a lot safer to just punch a hole in the fabric of space and pop out the other end.
Really?
I think so. It's a portal. You're just making a portal in space-time, right?
Yeah, but we wouldn't know what sort of repercussions we'd be facing. You have no idea how that would go over.
I mean, I got a pretty good idea.
We can assume based on science fiction.
No, based on science. See? Space-time fabric? You see space-time fabric? Right? You just... bend it. It's really far away. These are two different solar systems. They're like a million light years. You just bend space-time.
I know the principle.
Yeah.
And then you poke a hole.
And that's safe. I think. I don't see why not.
Theoretically.
Yeah, sure.
We don't think it would destroy anything.
Yeah.
It could also release a blast big enough to, like evaporate a fucking planet. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, it depends on what that final particle is. What is the field in which that we bend, right? Gravity or whatever. How stable is it? How unstable is it to bend? Yeah, that's a really good one. I don't know. I mean, we already made the Higgs boson particle, and that changed all the Bernstein bears into the Berenstain bears. So, right? We should do one on that. We should do an episode. Yeah.
Mandela effect?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do an episode on the Mandela effect.
I do like it. That's one of my favorite things. I've had a weird sort of...
You met someone from the wrong dimension one time?
More like I had a personal experience that felt like I'm not the original me. I don't know. It's weird to think about. Or like I'm a different me. There was another one, and I was that consciousness at some point, and then I became this consciousness because that one died, and this is like a round 2.
Oh, really? You're not supposed to do that many mushrooms at once, I don't think.
No, it was when I was driving.
You're just driving.
I was driving home from college. This was about a decade ago.
Yep.
And
Jesus, you're old.
Yay me. And I was kind of sleepy when I was driving, and I was driving down the hill, and I distinctly remember doing like that like if you're really tired you just do that kind of nod, but you're like But I remember doing that nod and
danger
then opening
driving.
my eyes. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, danger driving. Like I should have pulled over, but I didn't because I was fucking dumb.
And 18.
Yeah. Anyway, no, 19. Sir.
You're so old. It's all downhill from here, man.
No. Life only gets better.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like a fine wine. But anyway, so
I
did the little nod off. I did the little nod off, and when I looked back up, I was right in front of a barrier on the corner, and I smashed through the barrier and went over a cliff, and I died. And then, like, the car was rolling, and I looked over, and there was a big fucking rock, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna die. And then I just remember being at reset, and I was back at the top of the hill, and I hadn't closed my eyes at all, and I was like, wow, I'm really awake all of a sudden. But it was like this was before I had even started doing the nodding.
Oh my god, there was a glitch in the Matrix. You hit your checkpoint.
Checkpoint. Yeah, I had a reset point. Yeah,
your checkpoint in the simulation.
So, for me, that's always been like what happened there. Well, that was a weird fucking moment.
Right.
Because it happened. Sure. Like that fucking happened. I was awake when that happened. So like, it's not like I fucking passed out on the highway and
I've had weird awake experiences too. But they do always, a lot of these do seem to happen, like especially when you're really tired or whatever, right? But
yeah,
I remember one time being like in my bed and then not falling asleep, but being tired, but like not falling asleep, and then all of a sudden there was a girl in my bed, and then. But like not all of a sudden, it was like she was supposed to be there or something. And then I went to go cop a feel and she grabbed my arm and I was like, whoa, wait, what? Because there's not supposed to be anyone in my bed. I'm like 18 living alone. And and then I freaked out because someone's grabbed my arm in my bed. No one's supposed to be in my bed. I look up and it's this girl, like black hair, no face. And then she was in my bed and then poof, like deapparated right in front of me. And then I flipped my lid. I called my mom. I slept in my bed, in my roommate's bed with him that night. I was scared, man. Yeah. But yeah, these things happen. The glitches in the Matrix, simulation malfunction, error correcting code quickly whips you back into a stabilized reality.
I guess.
Yeah, true story. Okay, well, let's call it a short one this time, guys. That's Operation Paperclip. I am SamwellKrom on Twitch and YouTube and Instagram and everywhere you get all your good stuff, except for Twitter.
With some extra.
Oh yeah, some extra. Let us know what kind of podcast you would like to see in the future. What kind of conspiracy theories you want to hear about. Anything else you want to hear about too. We could definitely open a second pod up to talk about things like video games or whatever you guys are interested in, or movies. Movie review one would be pretty cool. Yeah, all the subjects. Let us know what you want to see in the future. Let us know how you like this one. Don't forget to comment. It's good to see you guys again. Don't forget to give the video a like and hit the subscribe bell notification. Slap me in the face if you ever get a chance. Mr. Stanley, is there anything you want to say?
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs. And also, let's not forget that we only went to space because we hired Nazis. Peace out.